Good afternoon and welcome to another TUG Connects 365 webinar today. I'm Gloria Nelson, your host with TUG, and as you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, action for TUG, theusergroup.org for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our community of Infor distribution software users. Now, we've all heard the phrase knowledge is power, and I can say with confidence that after today's presentation, you'll be waking up with a little more of both. TUG webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. Now that's a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it pays to get even more involved. And if you're not, please visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to have you be the best at what you do. Now, I'd like to just share with you that today's intellectual property is available to take screenshots and also grab chat. So without any further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome back Expertek CEO Ken Mostello and Frank Bruno, their e-commerce specialist channel advisor. Ken, I'm turning things over to you now, so go ahead and take it away.
All right, well, thank you, Gloria. Yes, I'm certainly happy to be back with you folks again. Today, we're going to spend the next 40 minutes or so talking about a product that we've been involved with for 3 years now called Channel Advisor. And this is gonna be a pretty high level strategic type presentation, not terribly detailed. If you wanna learn more later on, we'll certainly arrange to take you down deeper into the details of the product, as well as some of the integration components that we have developed for Channel Advisor. But really, this is to make a case today for why this product may be very important for your overall go-to-market strategy, because what Channel Advisor allows you to do is it provides a common integration point for all the e-commerce marketplaces that you commonly see and think about. And I'm talking about Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com, and all and up there, literally dozens and dozens of these that you can tie into and do business on. And they provide a product that brings it all together into one common point. Now, our involvement with Channel Advisor goes back about 3 years. We were engaged 3 years ago to put SX.e at the time, or CSD for some of you, in with an account that had been working with Channel Advisor. And we spent the better part of the year building out the integration to that. And this account today pretty much has a lights out operation. They take orders in from eBay and Amazon, and they go right into their warehouse. TWL helps them pick those orders and they ship them out the door. And we have literally taken and automated this process, and now 90% of their orders flow through Channel Advisor. So I think it's a pretty compelling story. So today, Frank Bruno is here with us from Channel Advisor. Frank and I have worked together now for quite a while. We've worked together on other deals we've done since then with Cloud Suite and Channel Advisor. So what Frank is going to do is spend some time here just kind of talking through the whole case for why a electronic marketplace strategy might make some sense for you. And then he's also going to give you a peek at their product. And we'll, of course, we'll take some questions right along the way. If you want, you have the chat box there. You can submit questions. We'll also take questions at the end if you have some. So with that, I would like to turn this over to Frank. And Frank, you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. Appreciate the invite. And, you know, Channel Advisor, I guess at our core, we are 750 people who do nothing but think about e-commerce. And as a result, we help our clients to basically grow their business. And it's based on their ability to put their product data to work. If they own product data and it's sitting on their website where they have a physical catalog, right, in PDF or some book form, you know, it doesn't make its way to every nook and cranny on the face of the planet where there may be, sales to be had. And so today we're going to take a look at the new e-commerce landscape. We'll talk to you about what it takes to succeed in the 21st century. And there is a hint, many sellers online manage their product portfolios very much like a financial portfolio. So making sure that you're placing your bets correctly and getting the proper returns are a thing that we do as a channel advisor. We help our clients to recognize the marketplaces and retail web stores that exist where they could showcase their product. And when you get that kind of exposure, naturally there should be some sales that follow through. So welcome to Preparing for E-commerce in the 21st Century and Beyond. I just want you to just take a moment and just listen to what we've got to share with you. And I believe the deck would be available to you. If you're taking screenshots, that's fine. If you want the slide deck, that's fine too. So without further ado, we are at our first polling question, Gloria. And the question is, are you actively considering selling on an e-commerce marketplace like Amazon or eBay? Take a minute to just fill that out. Okay, Gloria, do we have the results in? All right, well, 50% of you said that you're already doing it, which is great. 14% said that this is a near-term project for this year. Another 14% said that it's a long-term project, and 23% are not currently considering it. And this is a great place to kind of take it to the next step. I mean, as far as challenges go, I mean, there's reasons why people aren't selling online today. And, more times than not, it's about not having the expertise to get started and just kind of looking at it like it's uncharted waters. Some folks lack the technical capabilities to connect and optimize their data, and others are just, struggling to drive traffic to their website. So, getting good at SEO or knowing, how much to bid on terms for pay-per-click, that's a challenge. And more times than not, business owners find it hard to justify marketing spend as a result. Some companies may already be set up with a reseller channel, and so if getting into e-commerce, would that mean they're competing with their customers? And that's something that's oftentimes, hard for them to work past because they're afraid of alienating existing sales channels. And then, it's just too hard. There's too many manual touch points. If you're selling wholesale today, and now all of a sudden you went direct to consumer, think about all of the touch points that would enable that business. So having the capability to do that is very, very important. And the e-commerce platform is forever changing. I can tell you that 60% of shoppers browse for products based on their preferred shipping options. So if they have a Prime membership, they're gonna search on Amazon first. Why? Because they're not paying for shipping. And of all of the purchases that are taking place, over 70% of them are taking place using mobile devices. So customers are definitely getting smart. They're savvy. They're informed, but they want what they want. And if you're not there, if your products aren't there in front of them, they'll never see it, so they'll never buy it. And the customer's journey is more varied than ever before. I mean, it's there's so many places where searches begin. I mean, if you look here, you've got Google and Bing. There's social media like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. There are the traditional marketplaces that exist like eBay and Walmart and Amazon, or the retail marketplaces. So believe it or not, it is possible to syndicate your product data to these marketplaces if you have a relationship with them. And then, reaching customers is not easy. I mean, there are various reasons why people are shopping, right? They may be doing some serendipitous shopping. They may be just, kind of window shopping. Here's the most common that I find is when you're on social media and you're just kind of, scrolling through and you come across some ads. Those Facebook ads will represent, impulse buys all day long. And what also happens is it changes to traditional time models, right? So you're not open for business from 10 to 9, you're open for business 24/7. So this really does, kind of change the game a little bit. And then, if you've noticed over the past year what happened with the pandemic, it changed buyers' behaviors. No longer were they, getting in their cars and driving to stores to buy things. They were shifting that to online purchases because most of them had to quarantine at some point. And while they were quarantining, they still needed stuff. So they would just have it delivered. And the marketplaces are getting even more aggressive as it relates to services. So recently there was a change on Amazon that required sellers to go from 2-day shipping on Prime to 1-day shipping on Prime. So it changes the game a little bit, but it makes it that much more competitive. And so you want to make sure that you've got the right capability and the right guidance to proceed so that you can win. So you have to adapt, and the shopping actions that take place, from different marketplaces. If you weren't aware, Facebook and Instagram both have marketplaces. In fact, Facebook was allowing sellers to list their products at no charge. And there are other marketplaces that don't really charge a commission, like Google. Buy on Google allows their sellers to list products for free, and there are no commissions or no fees to sell on Google, but they make their money the old-fashioned way by advertising. So you have to be able to kind of do that and get in front of them and be top of mind regardless of what they're doing. And since the outbreak of the coronavirus, we've seen 69% of people clicking through on Amazon to make a buy, 33% on eBay, 29% on Facebook, 26% on Instagram, 42% on Google. And the thing that they all have in common is that they're not walking into a store to make that purchase. It's all being done online. So here's the fragmented landscape that exists today. If you're looking at the screen, you can see the digital marketing places that sellers will advertise their products on. And as they do that, there's digital marketing destinations like Facebook and Instagram that you can advertise on Google. But then a lot of these destinations are also now generating marketplaces where you can actually click through and buy a product right on these global marketplaces. And then let's not forget about the retail connections that exist out there. If you are like Sam's Club, Costco, Walmart, or even Amazon, and Amazon is reselling your product, there's a lot of moving parts, is what I'm saying in this equation. And that takes us to poll question number 2, which is, what are your biggest concerns with entering into an e-commerce marketplace? Select all that apply. Gloria, can you put up the second poll question?
And here we go. We're starting to populate some results right now. There seemed to be a little bit of lag initially. We always love seeing more participation and like to try to get 70% feel. There's 54% of you who have voted already. So let's see a few more of you step out of the woodwork and the shadows here today. Just a couple more. Promise it's painless. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 72%. Great job. Here's the results.
Ooh, I can't see the results.
Have it, Gloria.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, 58% of you said that the IT effort to integrate it all together is the biggest concern, followed by 54% pricing and margins, which you're not too far off. 46% of you said it conflicts with existing customers and sales channels, which we love that one. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then too costly, 33%. Inability to service the customer, 17%, and then no perceived benefit at 8%. So that's a good result. Thanks for doing that. And what does it take? What does it take to succeed? To overcome some of these concerns. And a lot of industry leading partners advise on the best ways to connect and optimize your commerce, your commerce, so that you have flawless execution, operational agility, and ease of expansion to grow your buyer universe and ultimately to convert shoppers into customers. So it really does, it pays to have somebody to kind of walk down the path with. And if you have issues with integration, that's why, folks like Ken are around. E-commerce is growing even more complex. These next couple of slides will kind of build on each other, but you can see how many places that data needs to connect if you're following my cursor. Unfortunately, with all of the frequent marketplace and retail website changes that occur, it's hard for IT people to keep up with the ever-changing code. And so things tend to break as a result. And so that is why, a lot of companies do, tend to go with a platform where things are all kind of funneled onto, a single data pipe, if you will. So, what you have going on with the marketplace with disjointed IT systems, and you've got the marketplaces that are forever changing. They have different rules, their fields change, and it can cause a lot of things to kind of go offline. So keeping things online and consistent are the way to go. And having the ability, and one of the things that people ask me all the time is, what would be the best way to manage multiple marketplaces, with limited people? And that is, balance it out with technology. And so this is what we're proposing, is to kind of simplify the craziness that you see happening here. And then, meeting unique channel data requirements. We said it before, for instance, on eBay, a title field only allows for 80 characters, whereas on Amazon, it allows for 200 characters. So what helps to optimize the search result is to take advantage of all 200 characters on that title field. And so, having the ability to format product data such that it automatically syncs up with the marketplaces gives you a leg up on competition and helps to smooth the data flow so that you don't have to touch orders as much. So this is what, the good work that gets done with Ken and myself. And, I think, managing your product catalog like a financial portfolio, recognizing the items that make you money, the items that can maximize your margins, all require that data to provide that insight. And so, having to extract that data from multiple marketplaces is not easy. So, having a platform that does aggregate that data can kind of help you see which products are doing well. And later on, when I just give you guys a quick look at the solution at Channel Advisor itself, I'll show you that. Increasing your return on ad spending and measuring your ROI. Since you have the ability to advertise through Channel Advisor on the marketplaces as well, what you can do is you can measure your sales against your ad spending to figure out what your return on ad spending is, and measuring marketing. That's something that a lot of companies struggle to do. And then to seamlessly integrate and manage the data so that you can reduce your costs. You don't have to touch the orders as often, I think is a definite way to reduce operational expenses and to get more out of your people. So the best thing that we do is helping our customers gain the kind of insight that they need to make decisions, right? And we've had clients before who have syndicated their product data to multiple marketplaces, and were managing each of those marketplaces like they were a separate salesperson. And if the salesperson wasn't doing that great, they would do something about it. It maybe put more money towards advertising, or decide that it's not a great marketplace to work with and just exit altogether. So, having that kind of insight is absolutely important. And then, if you're competing to win and you want to grow your business organically, I can think of nothing better than an e-commerce strategy for those folks, especially if you've got resellers that are selling on the marketplaces as well, and you don't want to alienate them. A good way to not alienate them is to just simply look for different geographic territories to sell in, maybe in places that are not very well covered, or places where you have no coverage at all. So, there's a way to enhance the relationship with your resellers by offering up content that would make your product stand out so that they can sell more of it. And I think, working with those resellers, having them to, follow your guidelines for selling products, whether it's, brand consistency, content consistency, pricing, availability, that's something that you can manage a lot better now. If you've got the ability to enable them with the kind of content that we're suggesting you syndicate to those different marketplaces. And so, this is really, it is one platform that delivers endless possibilities. Again, I'll show you what I'm talking about, but briefly, Channel Advisor does do content feeds. So if you are publishing posts or advertisements to either Facebook, Instagram, Google, Amazon, Walmart, you name it, that can be done through the platform. And again, the platform contains the product data that you have that's been refined specifically for those marketplaces. And so, setting that up and then having the feeds done automatically is the best way to, keep the pressure on, right? So you've got a steady stream of content that's flowing out. We also have shoppable media, which is an interesting product. It is kind of separate from the platform itself, mainly because it's a widget that resides on your website that tells buyers where to go shop for your products based on proximity to a retailer, pricing, or availability. So that technology is also available. What we excel in, we've been talking about this all day long, is the marketplaces. So syncing up your product data to the marketplaces and then having all of the orders. And this, by the way, includes any kind of retailer relationships that you have. So you can feasibly, send your resellers the product content and product data that they need to publish on their web stores to sell your product. And so that's all done through Channel Advisor. And then finally, the fulfillment piece here towards the bottom is where we aggregate all of your orders and create a single queue that will integrate with your shipping software or your warehouse management software or your ERP software to deprecate inventories, manage inventories, and manage other product data, and then funnel the transactional data back to your ERP system, so that not only do you know what products are selling and at what prices, but you know what days of the week and what times of the day that your buyers are present, so you can advertise more during those peak buying times. And so that's the idea of having a tool that delivers that kind of data-driven insight. And then finally, we have brand analytics. Brand analytics is a tool that a lot of brands use to measure their product performance. They also measure the performance of their resellers. So if the resellers really aren't performing that well, it may be time to reconsider that relationship or search for something new, or maybe a different reseller or a different alternative like e-commerce. So that kind of brings me to the end of my piece. Before taking you to the demo, I will just turn it back over to Ken.
Oh, thank you, Frank. Yeah, so I think what you've seen in this presentation is that Frank's product, Channel Advisor, really takes all these marketplaces and kind of funnels all of that data flow into one point. And our job really is to put in the last mile of that pipe, if you will. I mean, what we are now doing is taking that funnel that Channel Advisor has and exchanging the data with SX.e and Cloud Suite. We have, as I think I mentioned, we started down this road 3 years ago, spent a full year developing the integration points with Channel Advisor. And one of the things, I'm sure most of you have an e-commerce presence now and you're doing business over e-commerce, and you probably learned through that experience that connecting ERP with the e-commerce world has its complications. I can tell you that connecting to marketplaces has all those complications plus a few more. So for those of you who are concerned about the integration complexities, yeah, your concerns are well-founded. And that's really what we do is we have embarked on this project to smooth out all those wrinkles and allow that integration to happen. And specifically what I am talking about are things like customer matching when data comes in, making the correct product choices when the customers pick products, decisions like supersedes, substitutions. We have a decision engine built into the integration that actually allows those decisions to get made or to be routed to an exception center where someone can review the incoming order and make a decision how to process it. We even have a language translator in there to handle foreign addresses and bring those together. So that's just some of it. And I would probably finish that point by saying, you can just imagine, what's involved when you're dealing with things like back orders, trying to provide the correct status information back to the marketplace, since most of them just don't understand back orders. But we've also developed a process for that. So I think we've handled all the, the integration points that you might be concerned about. We even push data out to Channel Advisor and the marketplaces for price changes and inventory. That's a new feature we recently introduced. So we now have that push technology there. And all this is built on the Infor Ion and Ion API processes that exist in Cloud Suite. And we can also support versions earlier than version 11. So I'm happy to say that. So the list you see here on this screen is just a handful of the interface points that we've handled. There's, again, we've kind of built the last mile for you. And the nice thing is with Frank's product, there really is, he's handling all the marketplace technology, so you don't have to, and we don't have to. We just have to deal with talking to his product. So with Frank, with that, I will pass it back to you.
I'm going to just jump in here for a moment, gentlemen. We had a couple questions that populated before you go to your web browser, Frank. Number one question, I'm not sure who is going to be best suited to answer this, but it says, we've considered selling on Amazon, but are deeply concerned about becoming dominated by our customer. How are your clients managing that relationship? Who'd like to take that one?
Well, I'll take it. I mean, so with respect to, selling on marketplaces and being dominated by the customer, I think that's just a trend that's not going away. And, in order for you to adequately compete in the marketplaces, I think it's important to kind of give the buyer what they're expecting and creating a product or service that meets their expectations, and then pricing it accordingly. I can also tell you, and maybe what I'm thinking is the question may have also kind of been about the marketplace too, because marketplaces tend to bully their sellers sometimes, right? They have, and I shouldn't say bully, but they have rules and regulations that are in place for the benefit of consumers. And if the seller isn't compliant with those things, then sometimes they're delisted or kicked off the marketplace altogether. So being able to support and kind of play by the rules is something that we help our sellers do. And we take it a step further because we want them to win. We want them to be the top spot when a search is performed on a marketplace so that they can get the business. But it does come at a cost, and that's oftentimes where our sellers are challenged. And we help to basically address the issue. Either it's either a pricing issue, it's an advertising issue, or it's a cost issue, right? And if if there's a cost of doing business and you can't seem to compete with competitors on a specific marketplace, it may be time to consider a new marketplace, or to lower your prices, or to consider your own supply chain to better the costs. And that's kind of, if I apply the economics of business, that's kind of the step that I would take to addressing that problem. But, customer's always going to be king. You just got to be there for them.
And I'd just like to add a couple of words on that, Frank. One is, I think there are a number of reasons to consider selling on those marketplaces, even though there are pressures you get from the marketplace, and they can be domineering. I think one consideration certainly is competitive, right? If you're not claiming that space, somebody else very well may in your product line, and then you have to deal with that. I think a second consideration is that you're going to get more market visibility by being there. And potentially that means you're developing new customers and new customer relationships. And conceivably, they're going to start calling you directly when they're looking to buy something, or they're going to go to your website by virtue of having figured out who you are. So there is that benefit. It's in some ways, it's kind of an all of the above strategy, right? It's having additional channels to drive product sales, not necessarily doing this to the exclusion of everything else.
Gentlemen, I have two more questions, but I'm going to hold them to the end because we're at the 30-minute mark. And I know, Frank, that you want to jump into your web browser. So I'm going to jump off camera and I'll address those questions when we come to the conclusion. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me go to my software dashboard. Can you guys see my screen and the dashboard that's here?
Yes, we can.
Beautiful. I will start by saying whenever you log into Channel Advisor, it's a web-based software. It is software as a service. It's actually a platform as a service. And as you can see from my horizontal menu bar, I have the ability to go into a home dashboard. This is something that C-level managers like to see, because if you're looking at this widget here, and I mentioned this before, managing your product portfolio like a financial portfolio, and in this particular case, I would probably be putting more money into advertising for New Orleans Saints tailgate toss XL t-shirts, because they're up 32%, and if there's a product that's not doing so well, that's down, I might want to dig in a little bit deeper to figure out what's going on there. Maybe my price isn't right, or maybe my cost structures are not right. But the first thing, again, when you log into Channel Advisor, you can see what you want to see based on the job that you do. And if I wanted to change this around, there are up to 116 different widgets that I can select from to help me do my job, right? If I need to measure where my gross merchandising value is coming from, I can see the different channels that are supplying the business. And that's kind of where things start and end. But the functionality that we have, we can take a file, take your product catalog, import it into Channel Advisor, creating a master catalog that can be refined and syndicated to all of the different marketplaces. And when I say refined, let's go back to that example, that title field in Amazon that takes 200 characters versus eBay, which only takes 80. So if I'm creating a title field for all of them, I would want to make sure that I'm taking advantage of 200 characters in Amazon and 80 characters in eBay. So I would actually have a title field for Amazon and a title field for eBay inside of Channel Advisor that syncs up with the marketplace. And that's kind of how we can syndicate your product data to the different marketplaces. What you see over here under the Sell tab is all of the different marketplaces that we can support. There's 140 globally, but I've got, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 listed on this particular page. I can add them as I need to, but within each of these, I can see my listings. There's a template that I would go into, and I'll just click through it real quick so that you can see how products are mapped. So if you look at the stuff on the left, these are all of the product fields that exist on the Facebook interface. And then these are all of the products that exist on your product catalog. So we would map these back to the necessary field within Facebook, and then we would go live once we save and click through, and then we would be live on Facebook with all of the listings that you want. So that's one of many. There are also different tools within this particular module that would allow you to do things like repricing. So we've got the ability to let you see what your competitors are selling the same products for, and then you can set rules so that you're always beating them by price, or you're always meeting a certain margin requirement. Whatever you want to do, we can absolutely do that. We do also have demand forecasters that can help identify when products are low on stock based on trends that exist from previous period sales. So if you're looking at some history and you're seeing that you're going through 10 or 20 units of a product per month, you want to order 10 or 20 units at least so that you always have stock. And if you know that you're expanding to new marketplaces, you may want to order more. And you can do that all on this platform. So you got the ability to create a product catalog that can be refined. You've got the ability to connect your data and optimize your data on the different marketplaces. And then you've also got the ability to aggregate your orders under a single queue. And I'll just kind of click into this here for a second and pray that my 600 megabyte speed Wi-Fi does what it's supposed to. But this takes me to the orders page where all of the orders are aggregated. And you know what? Never mind there, because I've got this tab open here when I was preparing. And so you can see where all of your orders are. And if you needed to change columns around, if you needed to cancel order, create a shipping label, or let's just say that you wanted to create an order inside a Channel Advisor, I can do that if I want. I can merge orders if there's, if there's a similar ship to address and maybe somebody put 2 orders through and it's, the system does recognize that transactional data flowing. So it'll help you identify those orders here. And then you could either manipulate it further if it needed to be touched, or you just let it flow through and the guys in the warehouse will pick from the slips that print off and the labels, and just pop it in the box and off it goes. What happens from that point forward is once the orders are sent out, the information is then funneled back through Channel Advisor from your shipping software, and that will sync up with the marketplace, which then generates, and if you've ordered on Amazon before, the million emails that you get before your stuff arrives, right? You know where your stuff is at every single minute of the day, pretty much. Because you're getting that communication, and it all kind of flows through from the shipping software through Channel Advisor to the marketplaces that you're on.
And we're doing that today with Cloud Suite.
Yes, and that is something that happens through integration with Cloud Suite distribution, correct. And then the last piece that I wanted to show you on the platform is the advertising piece. This is where all the digital marketing takes place and where you can perform all of your feeds. You can work on the Amazon Ad Console, which is actually better than the tool inside of Amazon, because if you are in Amazon and you wanted to manage campaigns, for instance, you have to kind of back out and go into a different tab to view the different campaigns, whereas in Channel Advisor, it's all kind of listed, kind of the same as what you have here, but you have the list of campaigns that show up, and here you can see all of my campaigns. I can set a budget. I can work on ad groups. I can work on different ads, targets, negative targets. And so, targets could be long tail key search terms like shoes, men's, brown, leather, size 10. And that's a long tail key search term that if I'm searching for a pair of brown shoes in size 10, I might type that into a search bar. And then if your product content is refined to recognize that, then organically you will get a higher search result, right? Just by virtue of the fact that your data is clean. Better way to get the top spot is to advertise and to bid on that long tail key search term, so that if it's the highest bidder, you are the top spot. And more times than not, if you've got the top spot on a search result inside of Amazon, Google, or any of the other marketplaces, you'll likely get the client to click through and buy your product. And that's really, the technology in a nutshell. I didn't get into shoppable media and brand analytics because they are 2 separate products, and we were just kind of focusing on this as a basic. But just know that the capability, the expertise exists on our staff to help not only you to use this software, but if you wanted to outsource your marketing or your e-commerce altogether, Channel Advisor also offers managed services to take care of it from soup to nuts.
Okay, well, thank you, Frank, and appreciate you taking us through that. Gloria, do we have a couple of minutes to take some final questions?
We do have some additional questions. Does Channel Advisor have any integration to Insight Commerce, now owned by Episerver?
They are. I think they may either be a competitor or they perform a specific point solution. Not comprehensive, and not as comprehensive as Channel Advisor, but I'd have to look into that one a little bit more closely and get back to you.
Okay, and you'll be having it when we get to the conclusion. You'll have your contact information. Gary, you posed that question, Gary Niemand. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. So if you want to drill deeper into that and follow up with Frank, his contact information I know will be on the last slide here that's presented. And next question, I have 3 more so far, is why would it be in our interest to use your product instead of tying in directly with Amazon?
Well, that's a great question. And the reasons why, now you can do that. You can log into Amazon, you can log into eBay and Walmart and Wayfair and Overstock, and the list goes on, and manage all of those marketplaces separately. But it's very much like a hamster on a hamster wheel. It's only going to go so fast. And if you need to accelerate your growth, the best way to do it would be to syndicate your product data automatically across multiple marketplaces through a single interface. So we have that one-to-many relationship as it relates to putting your product data to work versus, individuals who work 16-hour days to manage, 2, maybe 3 marketplaces, and then they still struggle with inventory.
We went through the same evaluation process when we were deciding, would we go direct with the marketplaces or continue to work with Channel Advisor and have another intermediary product. And our conclusion was it was overwhelmingly more cost effective to have Channel Advisor funneling the activity, because the maintenance that would be necessary to do that with individual marketplaces, both in terms of building them all out and then maintaining them all and staying compliant with them all, was just going to be an absolute resource nightmare.
Yeah, and if I may, just to kind of paint the picture, last year when COVID struck, it devastated a majority of U.S. small businesses, and the mall store owner, the poor business owner who was paying a lot of money in rent, had to shut their door or figure out how they were going to adapt. And so what ended up happening was, you had in one case there was a store owner that had their associates start listing things on Amazon, and they listed on Amazon and they listed on eBay, and they struggled to do that because they didn't have the expertise, they didn't have any experience doing that. But they did it, and they managed to stay alive. And then they saw the opportunity through Channel Advisor to basically put their product data to work, and they realized that they were really, really putting a lot of effort into managing these marketplaces when there was a tool that would enable them. So rather than hiring, 1, 2, 3, 4 people to manage the different marketplaces, they had 2 people that they hired to manage all of the marketplaces using Channel Advisor. And the equivalent in this particular case was about $9 per hour if you compare Channel Advisor to a full-time worker. But the only difference was Channel Advisor doesn't stop working for you. It works 24/7, and it doesn't require benefits. So that is, that's the argument that we make for hiring Channel Advisor to manage marketplaces versus them just doing it themselves on the marketplace.
And we have one final question. I'm not sure which of you will field this one. I'll let you fight that out for yourselves. How robust is the integration with SX.e and Cloud Suite?
All right, well, that one clearly isn't my court. So I'll be happy to address it. The integration is extensive, and I will tell you, doing this integration and doing it right is not a trivial effort at all. And for some, we've already covered some of the reasons, but I will, go on to say it's not only that you have to deal with many touch points, and there are many touch points where you are trying to put together the round peg and the square hole. And I mentioned one of them earlier, which is dealing with a ERP system that likes back orders and works in the world of back orders, with a e-commerce system that only understands one order and needs to know what line shipped on that order. And as Frank pointed out, they want to send out emails when activity happens. So all of that had to get coordinated. We did all that. Another thing that was important is fulfillment. if you sell on Amazon, some of your orders may be fulfilled by Amazon. Some of them you may fulfill direct. Okay, so you have to deal with an array of fulfillment issues that come up with that. Like you have a warehouse for FBA versus a warehouse for the ones you are physically shipping yourselves, and how does that flow through the system? Well, we handled all that, and moreover, we built a decision support process within the integration layer, so these things are configurable, and we can change them based on how any one given SX.e Cloud Suite user chooses to conduct business on the sites.
And just to add to that too, Ken, we had that one client that they have stores, they have physical stores in a showroom that they sell plumbing products out of that store. So there are point of sale systems that will impact their inventory, right? Every time they sell something in the store, it deprecates the inventory by one. And so the challenge for them was to manage their inventories across their brick and mortar stores as well as their online stores, right? So, if something sold inside of Amazon, that sale would deprecate through Channel Advisor to Cloud Suite distribution. And then on the other side of the transaction or of the enterprises is a brick and mortar store that's selling product, and that point of sale system is also now feeding Cloud Suite distribution with the updated inventory. So Cloud Suite or SX.e would manage the inventory. That would be the single source of truth as it relates to inventory, and then that would feed Channel Advisors so that they don't get into an oversell situation.
Marketplaces don't like it when you have stockouts.
I just wanted to let our listeners know that Gary Neiman had posed that question about integration with Insight. And Erin Plattner also posed the same question. She might have tuned in or had to tune out for a moment, but I wanted to just remind each of you that the contact information for Frank and Ken is directly on the screen in front of you. So please don't hesitate to dash off an email. Frank shared that he would be digging deeper to get the answer to that question. And without any further ado, gentlemen, I don't see any additional questions that have populated right now. So I would like to say thank you very much, Frank and Ken, as always, for sharing the insights into your e-commerce platform today, and to thank each of you that logged on as well to join us for this session. Mark your calendars for this Friday as a group of esteemed roundtable participants delve into Web UI CSD upgrades with a group discussion. First time ever. It's going to be a little bit like the Wild West. We're going to be having you self-select and go into breakout meeting rooms to really discuss this on a more intimate level online. So watch your inbox and also the forums to link to register for this event. TUG members, just a quick reminder, if you still have additional questions or want to keep this dialogue running, please make sure that you post to the TUG members only forum. I feel that that's the greatest 24-karat gold nugget within our membership platform for quick responses or to keep it going. And for those of you who aren't yet members for TUG, please join us today by visiting www.theusergroup.org. And as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Gloria.